Yes, here we are once again, which of course, as always, being this Wednesday, there go the sirens to herald our arrival. I was hoping for those because it makes it more. There's more pomp and circumstance if there's sirens going on in the background while
It's
we're going.
true. I'm listening. I don't hear ours here.
Barely hear ours. Maybe there's something wrong with them. I don't know. Maybe they're busy watching this show and they need to turn up the volume on the sirens. I don't know. In any case, oh, there we go. Now I can hear it. It is Wednesday. It's noon Eastern time, which of course means it's time for the High Noon Hemp Show. You can find us live or video on demand, of course, on the Temptations Beach Facebook page, the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel, and at Temptations on Twitter. If you just want the podcast version, of course, you can do that as well. Podbean, Google Play, iHeartRadio app. Just search the High Noon Hemp Show, and you will find us. I am Stoner Jesus. He is Beach, high above the Temptations in Sharonville at the Hemp Quarters. Beach, how are things this week in the World of Temptations?
It's official. It is high noon. It is Wednesday. It is the first of the month. And yes, we finally got caught up. We must have started the show somehow 30 seconds early, 20 seconds early. We'll call it 20 seconds. So, and then the alarms went off, and now everybody should be watching. So, everybody's hopefully inside watching us here at the High Noon Hemp Show. It is true. I am beat. I am high above the Sharonville location. That guy over there is Stoner Jesus. It's true. Um, Things are, pretty status quo in the Temptations world. I will like to say that in recognition of one of the greatest authors ever, whose birthday it is today, Dr. Seuss, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, Theodore Geisel officially was his name. And originally, my understanding was that Seuss was pronounced was good. He wanted it to be pronounced something differently to rhyme with something differently, but I forget how the story goes. I'm a big huge fan. I will have to say that the Lorax set me on my way when I was a child. I think it's just a little part of my whole environmentally friendly attitude, or just don't be mean to the planet attitude for no reason. I suppose there's no doubt. I remember as a child watching that half an hour Lorax video, and they used to run it. I don't know if maybe it was around Earth Day or Arbor Day or Easter. I feel like it was around Easter, so maybe it was an Earth Day / Easter thing for some reason in my head, and then it disappeared. I mean, it like literally like disappeared. It wasn't on TV, wasn't anywhere for a long time. And then we actually started selling the DVDs back when we opened in '95. We actually had the VHS tapes. I'm sorry, in 1995 we had VHS Lorax tapes that we could sell, and then eventually I think I did find some Lorax um, of the original, and then of course now they've made it into a major motion picture, which I just doesn't. To me, honestly, it just does not have the impact that the original 22-minute video movie had, TV show, or whatever you want to call it. Um, it was very impactful. But anyway, so I have written, and I did this real quickly. I have written a little Dr. Seussian type poem for the good old plant that we love here. Hemp is a plant we should all know. All the great things, easy to grow. From food to clothing, houses and paper. There is no better, there is no greater. Be kind to the planet, planet everywhere. Use hemp for everything, and the earth won't have a care. So there you go. That's my little homage to hemp and one of the greatest authors ever. I could probably recite, and maybe, for the Earth Day episode, I would do that, recite part of the Lorax itself, because I had a good part of it memorized for a while. I feel like I watched it and I read it so much to my child and my children's. So anyway, but and of course, Dr. Seuss took a hit recently. Some of his books had some controversial things in them, and so it is what it is. That's for sure. But I believe the Lorax is one of the greatest books ever written. Say what you will. but I truly believe that the Lorax was, in fact, one of the greatest books ever written. So there you have it. Dr. Seuss living on as he will forever. I don't know how many Loraxes I have. There's a little tiny one up there. I've got a couple over there. But anyway. All right, let's get on to what the show's really about, and that is hemp. It is true. We'll get to the product spotlight. I can't remember if I did these seltzers, but these are actually the controversial Delta 8 seltzer, and so that's why they're called Seltzer 8. There's 25 milligrams of Delta 8 in each one. Um, my understanding is that's a really good dose if you're not used to any type of cannabis. I've heard that recently. So looks like, what I say, watermelon, lemon, lime, and black cherry, 3 different flavors. This next one, of course, made out of one of my favorite new hemp products, is a Hemp Composite, which is these Greenco pre-roll holders. And so basically, the end on the left there, the cap comes off, and you can put your hemp CBD flower pre-roll and your hemp paper in your Greenco pre-roll protector and go out, and it will be safe. We pulled these out of the office. These were never 100% done because we never actually put the Planet Everywhere label on them. So these are originally, was what I call a watch band. They're a bracelet. I actually use most of mine. I have most of the color combinations as a money clip, more or less. So I just take my cards and my money and I just wrap it around there, and then, they're a Velcro strap that is adjustable for many uses. And so maybe you got a big old thing of hemp rope you want to keep straight, so you throw your Velcro / your hook and latch hemp band. I'll just call it a band. You can use that band for anything you'd like to use that band for, because they are, like I said, adjustable. And these were patterned after a classic hemp watch band. That if you had a watch that had 2 pins on each side of the head, then you just slip the hook and latch piece up underneath and through the pins and underneath the watch, and then out, and then you had a adjustable, eco-friendly watch band. Super cool. And then we made a bunch of them at Planet Everywhere years ago, and these I just never got finished because we don't do much of the Planet Everywhere stuff as far as sewing anymore. And the last one from the store, no, I'm sorry, did I forget one? Did I send another picture over? What was I didn't put it on my list.
I don't know. Hit the wrong button.
I can't. Oh, there they are. That's right. I didn't have them on my script. I left off the Hempy's corduroy pants. And again, this is the selection that we have on the shelves in Sharonville. But I know we're kind of coming into spring a little bit, and so I think some corduroy pants might be appropriate. I don't know if you need a pair. If you come in, you can tell them that I said you can do 20% off those corduroy pants any day. You tell them. Beach said that on the High Noon Hemp Show.
There you go. 20%
off Hempy's corduroy pants, because they're not really that cheap. But anyway, I have a brown pair. I'm gonna try to locate those and wear them on the show for what we know when it comes up is the most popular segment of the entire day. But there's 4 from the store, as I like to say on the product spotlight. Now, the one from my door is, once again, it's kind of a bonus because it's more than one. This is my current shower situation. So, a Dr. Squatch soap, that is a hemp yarn washcloth, and I've got hemp shampoos, and then I'm running very low on the miracle oil shampoo, so that's why that bottle is upside down. It's not a statement. It's just
International language of this is about to run out.
that's right. That's right. The universal language of I don't waste anything, therefore I'm going to let gravity do what gravity does. It's true. So there you have it for my proverbial bathroom door or the shower. That's my current hemp situation. Um, once again. So there you have it on the product spotlight. Four from my store. Four from my store. It is four from my store. Four from the store. One from my door. And I don't have any more this week. Sometimes I do that. It's true. Now.
Yes, as Beach alluded to, not only the biggest segment of the day, the biggest segment in internet history, and I've yet to be proven wrong. Not that anybody's tried, but if they did try, they would fail miserably because it is the best, biggest, greatest segment ever in internet history. It is where hemp and fashion collide. The beachwear segment, as we like to call it. I ask Beach a simple question. We get an awesome answer. What are you wearing, Beach?
It's true. And of course, every day I wear hemp head to toe. So now we tell you what it is on Wednesdays. You're asking yourself, hey, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you'll know. On the top there in the lid, I have a grassroots, I believe it's Mochi Pet. And I don't know what that means. It was just a hat that we got in because I really kind of like the design on them. And so I don't know what Mochi Pet is. But that's the grassroots California, which they use a lot of hemp in their stuff when they can, no doubt about it. My Smith Center jacket, which I don't know if I've worn anymore, unless 420 was on a Wednesday last year, because I finally found my vaccination paper, which I couldn't find forever, and my favorite headphones, which obviously, if you don't know, you can follow. I got my second shot of my vaccine on 420 of last year. It just randomly worked out that way. So that's how I know I wore that jacket last, because I would look for my vaccination papers forever until I went and just got another copy. But Smith Center, they were down in Louisville. And I don't know if they still exist. This jacket's at least 20 years old, I'm guessing. But that's a classic, possibly extinct jacket, so to speak. My Capital Hemp T-shirt, again, Capital Hemp, located in Washington D.C., and they have been around forever. And I have to say that when I was there, I don't know how many years ago, 10 years ago, I went into their shop. It was awesome. It felt like a little version of a Hemptations, or a Hemptations location, because it was a lot of hemp stuff. I had the smoking stuff too, but really committed to the hemp products that were out there. And so, in Capital Hemp, they still exist, but I think they have moved. I think they have a couple locations in the Washington D.C. area still, but kind of out on the outside, not as much. Like they were kind of. If I remember correctly, they were in like a little kind of busy, not downtown, but anyway, great little shop. Been around forever. My pants are a company called INI, and those are INI cargo pants. These are super comfortable. Originally, I remember I got these on the Hempist website. I don't know that they still have any of these available, but they do have some really nice hemp clothing available on the Hempist website. In my pocket there, I actually moved it down into what is kind of like a little almost pen pocket. My Green Springs technology pen sticking out, as it always does. And then underneath, I've got my I Love Bad briefs. You can find those on Amazon. My socks are Canaleaf, the Satori Canaleaf, and this is like the one big leaf sock. And then my Vans sneakers shoes / Jimmy's, bringing it all together there. And I suppose I really should have gone for more of a purple, green, and gold, because that's kind of the Mardi Gras colors. We're doing kind of red, green, and gold, I suppose, for today. So it's kind of a little, almost a Mardi Gras outfit. But we know how much we love my purple and green at the old Hemptations locations. Now, before I show this next picture, which is a bonus "What are you wearing?" picture, I want to say that this happened purely by accident. we put an inflatable hot tub in our barn on the property, and this just happened to be my look to walk down to the barn, and of course it very much patterns the old scene from Christmas Vacation. I think with just a little bit of work, and what I want to say here is, again, all hemp. Everything I have on is hemp, and so and I think with just a little bit of work, I can do the flappy hat. I even have a pair of dress shoes and probably a plain pair of black socks that I can replicate the outfit almost perfectly.
Do you have a waste receptacle that you can empty that
I
will
do.
round out the scene?
I do actually have. I could, if
Is it full?
ironically, if we have a Halloween party on the farm, I could greet everyone coming up the driveway
Nice.
with the hose hooked to the RV, can of beer, shitter's full, because that's the line. You don't know. I don't curse. And again, I don't think any words are bad. Only words can be used badly. But the line from the movie is he's standing in the middle of the road in the subdivision, and he's emptying his waste receptacle into the sewage, and he says, "Shitter's full." And so anyway, classic line there. And again, I didn't even think about it until I was like looking at it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then of course, anyway, so there you have it. It's not Halloween, but it could be a preview into this year's Halloween costume.
Right.
That is for sure. So anyway, there's a little bonus. What are you wearing, Beach? If you wonder what I wear to the barn to get into the inflatable hot tub. And I recommend that, to look into inflatable hot tubs. They're like, if you have just the room to put them, they're not really that expensive. It's bubbles, it's not jets. So it's but again, for the money, I swear. Yeah, so there you have it. All right, let's get on to a little bit of news here. Not too much going on in the world of hemp this week, but definitely is always something. In an article that was titled "Where to Get Phosphorus for Strong Bones and Teeth," I come, of course, hemp's on the list, and hemp's in the article. The funny thing is the section that hemp is in and that it talks about, it's actually talking about, I think, grapeseed and some other seed. And then you get down there and you find out that 1 ounce of hemp seed provides 65% of your daily recommended dose of phosphorus, which I was probably not even aware that we, need. I mean, for some reason, I would have thought that, obviously calcium has something to do with strong bones. We don't hear a whole lot about how phosphorus has something to do with strong bones. And so something to look into there, I suppose. And, we all love our healthy teeth, I think, as much as possible. So get your phosphorus from hemp seed. That being said, Manitoba Harvest, which is a product that we have been carrying for a very, 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 very long time as far as their food products, they are releasing a new line called Power of Hemp. And the Power of Hemp line will be hemp plus matcha, hemp plus super greens, hemp plus chai and flax, and these are all separate forms. And so I'm guessing those would be the protein powders that they do, and they'll be adding those things to them. They're actually going to add a ground hemp seed, which is like going full circle because for the last 20 years, grinding the seed and making it super fine has been the goal for things like this to make the protein powders from. But that outer part of that seed is very hard, and it's very difficult to get to a smooth consistency. You just have to get used to the gritty consistency. When you leave the outer shell of the seed on, you're getting that bonus fiber, and so if you need fiber or looking to have fiber in your diet, you want whole hemp seed. The inside, the hulled part of the seed contains all the vitamins and minerals, omega-6, omega-3, phosphorus, and all those other things. And so, they're kind of coming full circle back to some of the original hemp food products, which was basically ground whole seed, and that was the powder, the form, to use for a lot of things, whether it was smoothies or trying to make bread or crackers or whatever it would be. And they're now trying to refine that flour, that hemp grain flour, and that's what we're going to start seeing now is different consistencies for different reasons. You want to make hemp bread out of hemp flour? Here's your hemp bread flour. You want to make crackers out of your whatever you want to add it to your smoothie, whatever it may be. And so, and then the last one, 100% coming back full circle, and that is whole sea salted seeds. And so, again, one of the first snacks, hemp seed snacks that we saw come to market years and years and years ago was salted whole seed, roasted, and that's what they're doing. They're roasting it, which softens it up a little bit. I like to say eating hemp seed is much like eating popcorn. If you can do it without getting just something stuck in your teeth, you've mastered it. Because the whole seed is a little chunky, and there's always that little chunk of whole seed that wants to get stuck in there one way or another. When they roast it, I think that honestly makes it easier to break up in your mouth. We've seen in the past spicy roasted hemp seeds, which I don't, hopefully they see success. And we do salted hemp seeds, roasted salted from another company that we put on the shelves here when we can get them. I'm sure Manitoba will hopefully see success. That whole seed is a harder market to get people than the hulled seed, which is a much easier market to get people into eating hemp seed whole or hulled, not to be any more confusing than it could be, either with the shell or without. And without the shell has become the more popular way. Once again, if you have it with the shell, then you're getting that fiber nutrients one way or another. So Kentucky is moving forward. I have a picture here, I think, of Katie Moyer, one of my hemp heroes. Katie she is an original hemp farmer. Her farms were one of the farms that we toured in the first year that industrial hemp was grown in the United States again, 2014. I believe that was 2013. Forget now. I should know. I know the bill was 2013, but I don't know if we grew in that year or not. I don't remember. Anyway, she is testifying in front of the state committee on this supposed they want to ban Delta 8 products, and of course, completely legal. One of the quotes that she said is, we understand restricting age. It's not probably for anybody 18 or older. They probably would make it 21 to satisfy everyone, which again is, right, wrong, or indifferent. I don't, I do not, I still believe, and until I'm proven wrong, I don't believe that the side effects of this are any more different than any side effects of any over-the-counter pain reliever or Sudafed or any of those things that will give you a buzz when you're using them for therapeutic use. Okay. And so, we'll see how this goes. We're going to see more of this now. And and of course, here's part of the problem. In a different article, there was a study. I think over 2,000 parents that were surveyed, and 35% of them, over a third of those parents, believe that CBD and marijuana were the same thing. A third of those parents. That's a lot of ignorance. That's a lot of ignorance. And so, I really feel like we've done a much better job in the last at least 3-4 years of, educating and clarifying to all the citizens of the world how different CBD and what they call marijuana, or what we'll call Delta 9 THC, is. They've proven it worldwide. It actually causes zero, basically, side effects. Safe to drive on. Helps with many different. Has an unbelievable line of therapeutic value, even to children. Once again, the only CBD approved FDA drug is for children, and 1/3 of the parents don't know the difference between CBD and marijuana.
Yeah,
that's terrible. And again, we have the FDA to blame for that, because they're dragging their feet on CBD as far as it being GRAS, or generally regarded as safe, so we can officially label it on food and drink products, continuing to drag their feet there. So, that's not helping. And I think that for the most part, the other number that I saw was 80% of these parents knew very little about CBD, one way or another. I suppose what I really want to find out there is how many of those parents give their children pharmaceutical drugs for anything: asthma, ADHD, whatever. If 100% of those parents don't actually give their kids anything for any therapeutic purposes, pharmaceutical drugs or not, then them not knowing anything about CBD doesn't surprise me. But if they do, and they have not tried to figure out whether CBD can help their child instead of some pharmaceutical drug or something else, then they're doing themselves and their children a disservice. CBD is basically as big a market as it is today because of a child.
Yep.
And so, once again, the absurdity, and I don't, nobody that doesn't need it needs it. That's the way I am for anything. I'm a firm believer in trying to create homeostasis in the body without having to use any type of drugs for anything. That being said, I take some drugs for my heart, and I'm going to start moving over to CBD for the blood pressure, because I've been doing more and more research on the fact that CBD is probably just as good at lowering blood pressure as the small amount, and I'm not on a whole lot, small amount of medicines that I'm on. And so, I'm going to do my own studies on my own body. And again, I would 100% rather take something for my health that is natural, comes from nature, than comes from some lab somewhere. Again, that's just me and my liver and my kidneys and my stomach and my intestines and everything else that pharmaceutical drugs tend to destroy while saving your life. Um, and so anyway, um, but and here's the deal. This poll definitely backs up what just happened over in Pennsylvania, where they closed a CBD store because it was too close to two schools. This 100% backs that up. Um, this shows me that those parents, 35% of those parents, somehow, some way, thought they were marijuana. It was marijuana. Never probably even looked into the difference between CBD. And they just in their heads, they said, "Oh my gosh, there's a marijuana store opening up around the corner. We got to protest and shut it down." And under the protests and the outrage in the city, they shut down, which breaks my heart. Um, so, well, here's some good news for the Czech Republic. The Czech Republic obviously has a 1% THC industrial hemp rule. And so Canaway is going to release a 1% THC line there. I think that this is something to be watched because obviously what we'll see or what we won't see is the Czech Republic go to hell in a handbasket because there's 1% THC in their CBD products. um, you know, because that's not going to happen. It's always funny how they're always worried about so much THC in products. And it's like, once again, man, um, it doesn't correlate to danger, doesn't correlate to being unsafe or making a person unsafe. Um, you know, there is still not proof that smoking THC9 or using THC9 on its own makes you unable to operate a motor vehicle safely. We do know that THC9 and alcohol, something, of course, but we know that alcohol is the worst thing. One of the worst things you can 100% legal, folks. Just about everywhere you go in the world. And the most dangerous thing we can put in our bodies if we're going to drive. But and so there's that 1% and for over-the-counter CBD products. I think is not. It's definitely not. What I would like to do is try it myself, although it would be very hard to really assess. I'd really like someone who has never used Delta 9 or whatnot, the experiments to see what kind of if they get any effect, if they actually feel any of those common side effects that are related to Delta 9. Whether that's the munchies, which happens in 45 minutes, studies have found when you use Delta 9, whether it's paranoia, which is an actual natural side effect of using Delta 9. And again, it's not like the paranoia that they have you in the movies where you're like looking around and you're going to stab somebody because you're worried about it. It's more like paranoia that's driven like, did I turn the stove off? Did I, but it is a natural side effect of Delta 9 use, which I do think over time naturally just kind of goes away. Like you just don't, you don't deal with that. You don't feel it as much, I don't think. But I know studies have shown that it is a natural side effect, and short-term memory loss, is an actual natural side effect of Delta 9. Okay, and so how much of that 1% THC is bringing you up to any of those, if any? To me, I feel like probably not. My head says 2% at least. They used to say that the worst Delta 9 cannabis, THC, Delta 9, was 2 to 5% THC. And so A 2% probably doesn't get you there. 5% now might, that's the one you at least tried to get back in the day. And I'm sure that still exists somewhere in the world, but wow, what a weird world that is. And again, the point there is, and this is often made, is the higher the THC, the less safe it is, or blah blah blah, and that's not true.
We have Frozen Beach. First time in a while. Kind of a cool place to freeze, though. If you're just joining us, you're watching the High New Hemp Show. We're waiting for Beach to return. If you're watching the video version of the show, of course, check out the scrolls on the bottom. Tell you where locations of Temptations are, how to order online, where you can find the show, either in video or audio form. I'm always bringing you information as Beach is going through what he's going through and telling you about the hemp and all that, giving you the information and everything you need to know. Scrolling along the bottom the entire time is information about Temptation.
Hey, there we go.
And Beach is returned. All right.
Woo! That was a great face to be frozen on, by the way. I suppose. Especially talking about Delta 9. But anyway, so, and I will finish talking about this article in the sense that 0.1% is where we're trying to get here in the United States. We'd like to see 0.1% THC as the legal amount in industrial hemp by dry weight, just to make it easier on the farmers and the products and everything. And again, that doesn't mean that all in all that has to go into the end product anyway when it comes to the CBD. They can take that out. You can just do the isolate and just get your CBD. It just makes full spectrum a little larger. Just makes the numbers of being full spectrum a little, and there's no doubt that some of the people that use therapeutic cannabis want that little bit higher THC. They don't want the 5%, 10%, 15%, but 1 to 2% is just enough. Then I think they can get that therapeutic value out of it, and then not have to worry about whether it's going to be all loopy or whatever. Which is the same reason that most people want to get off pharmaceutical pain medicines, because there is a certain amount of side effects that are acceptable with that. No different than cannabis THC Delta 9, where you don't obviously get that with most of a little bit. I think the Delta 8 now and HHC and whatnot. Speaking of now, the newest move in the Senate, and of course, this bill was actually introduced by a Karen. Yes, the state senator that introduced this bill was named Karen. But they want to make hemp-derived THC illegal. Okay, now someone needs to explain to Karen that the 0.3% THC exists because up until just recently, and the second company has supposedly announced that they have created a seed that does not create THC Delta 9. We'll see. It's impossible to grow the plant pretty much without small traces of THC. Delta 9 THC. Okay. Then, of course, what I think they want to include here, what they're trying to do is include the Delta 8 THC, Delta O THC, THCO, and probably some more THCs that are going to come about somewhat soon. And once again, this is a ridiculous step backwards in industrial hemp. I don't believe that, hopefully it won't get enough votes, and they'll realize that what this does is now this is then going backwards with the Farm Bill, which clearly says that everything from industrial hemp is, all the extracts, all the products are completely legal. And then they're going to start nitpicking it. And so now as hard as it is for farmers and producers and manufacturers and everyone in all the industrial hemp supply chain, for the most part, as it is to not be looked at like a criminal as it is, and this is the goal we're trying to get rid of, especially after 3 years now, 4 years now, um, of industrial hemp being 100% legal. Um, you know, in the state of Ohio, I think because they're one of those states that look at it like it's not equal to corn or soy, so it's like the farmer thinks he's doing something wrong. If you got to pay a bunch of licensing fees to grow your crop, then you're like, I'm not doing that as a farmer. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? This is supposed to be legal. Why am I paying these fees, these licensings? Why do I have to have my crops tested? Blah blah blah. And I know that the crops being tested is a part of a lot of the supply chain. I don't. That is, to me, it's ridiculous overstep to the whole thing, because once again, if somebody comes up hot, somebody's product hits the shelves with too much THC in it, or blah blah blah, then you figure it out. But to actually have to go to everybody in the country or in your state, if that's your state policy, and have everybody, like in Ohio, everybody has to be tested to make sure that it's doesn't have an illegal amount on it, then once again, then the farmer looks at himself like he's a criminal, like he's doing something wrong. And of course, this is even more overstepping when it comes to if you're growing for fiber as grain, like I always say, because guess what? It makes zero difference how much THC, Delta 9 or Delta 8 or any of those things are in the cannabis. If you're growing for the fiber, the stalk, to make clothing, or the seed, which also has fiber. That's why it's so confusing to me sometimes. It's like a dual fiber crop. You can wear it and put it in your body. But anyway, there, zero difference. How much THC Delta 9 is in the flower at the end of the year, if it even gets to flower, which most more than likely it would be full of seed. If you're growing for fiber or grain, obviously for grain, you want it to be full of seed. You probably have more male plants that way. When you're growing for fiber, it doesn't matter, but you would want that seed for next year's crop. You store it, throw it back out next year, and you don't have to go to the grain mill and deal with that, because it produces a lot of seed one way or another, unless you're growing for the flower, and then of course it's female only, and you want zero seeds for the most part. And so, if this Senate bill gets any momentum at all, it's kind of scary again for the whole, because now we're back to nitpicking even more for things we should not be nitpicking for. That's for sure. And again, almost every state that's tried to make it illegal, it's been challenged and turned over. And so, we'll see what happens in Kentucky, which is, again, one of the largest growers of industrial hemp in the country. More than one processing plant, which would have to move out of the state if they make Delta 8 alone illegal in the state of Kentucky. And it may, and again, I don't know how, other than that, it's just, it's kind of a ridiculous thing to do, but they're doing it. They're trying, and we've been seeing this, and we're going to see more of this as we see more of these extracts coming about that are being extracted or made from legal industrial hemp, federally legal industrial hemp, no less. Oh, okay. This is. I think I do actually have a picture of this. This team of researchers at the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, I'm not sure where that is, have developed a composite reinforcing hemp material that could replace rebar, I should say. And so rebar now is made from steel, which means it's made from things that are extracted or removed from the earth. and never put back. Now, with this particular rebar, which is using hemp fiber and I believe a earth-friendly plastic, they described it, bioplastic, is supposed to have the same strength that rebar produces. You put the rebar in construction, you run rebar to keep the crete mix more stable over time, is how that works when it comes to rebar and its use. But the one quote that I love from the article was, instead of extracting it from the earth, you grow it, which is the goal for everything that hemp can replace. So now we can add rebarb to a product that hemp can replace. And hemp in the construction world is as big as it's ever been and becoming bigger and bigger every day. There's no doubt about that. And so here is one more product in the construction world that depletes the earth of its resources and never replaces them that we can grow in 5 to 6 months. And once again, eventually, if you build it out of hempcrete and then you use your hemp rebarb, eventually, maybe hundreds, thousands of years from now, as buildings are crumbling, when if we're not around or whatnot anymore, the earth isn't going to suffer post humans if that's what it is. If we've somehow not made it out alive, the buildings will crumble around. Not that any humans think that they should care about that because we won't be here, but I kind of care one way or another. For the same reason that I want to, the earth should be left to the children in a better place than it was when we found it, not in a worse place. But and that's why we push for hemp in the construction world so much now, and that's why it's so popular, because it is so much more sustainable and eco-friendly, and so far comparable in use for everything that we've replaced it for. Hemp rebar coming soon. This may be the one thing. Maybe we'll get some bigger hemp buildings built in the United States when we're using hemp rebar too. How cool would that be? I think it would be super cool. All right, well, that's all the news I got for everybody today. No real events going on until, let's see, well, NOCO at the March 23rd, 25th. I say no real big events. That's the biggest event, and it's actually coming up real soon. So if you haven't made your plans now, I recently saw a post that they had to move it because of this, that, and all the other. And it was a decent sized location, and then it moved to a really big location in Denver, and now they moved it. Oh man, I remember now. It's like a famous resort name, because I think there's one in Nashville now. I can't remember what it is, but either way, NOCO, for some reason, last minute, had to move. So check on that if you're headed out there. Make sure you know where you're going when you get out there. Once again, that's March 23rd through the 25th. And it is, without a doubt, the largest hemp-related expo that exists. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Thanks for watching. My thoughts were in the show, and I didn't have any questions. So remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having Hemptations.
See you all next week.
Peace.